Hello there, friend. Welcome, everyone. I have someone that I have been waiting so long, and it's just one of those things, you typing through the list and you're just working your way down and you're like, Memento Mosi. That's the one. That's the one. So finally,
hello.
Yes. So finally we have them on the cameras doing the RC talks things. The world famous Rules Committee interview series, hosted by yours truly. So yeah. So do you like Memento? Do you like Mosi? Do you like
Definitely Mosi. Well, I mean that's the name in it. The other part is like an adjective. The other part is like that's
remember.
Part of the,
yes,
remember.
Yes, that's
remember. I'm Mosi.
Yeah. Well, I mean, memento is remember in Latin.
Yes. Well, it's like Memento Mori. It's remember you will die, but I'm Mosi, so that's Memento Mosi.
Oh,
remember I am Mosi.
Oh, see, now we're peeling back the layers, the subtle and fine layers that is the Mosi.
Yes, indeed.
Right on. So let's do some obligatory stuff.
Let's do it.
How long have you been a member of the Pauper Commander Rules Committee?
Of the Rules Committee? Probably. I reckon it's been, 3 years, 4 years? Probably 3.
Time flies. Yeah.
Time flies.
Right on. So probably a year or so, because I think I'm coming up on 2 years. I don't know. Who knows, right? So before,
I think I'm before you, but
after the great merging.
Oh, for sure. I knew of PDH for the longest. It seems like, but the Rules Committee, I mean, it wasn't around forever, and they weren't always recruiting.
What do you mean? It's been around since the beginning of time.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Let me close the door just for a moment.
Yes, you got it. While we peek around the room, ooh, look, there are some swans and little pink and green things hanging from a thing over in the corner. Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm an anthropologist by education and some work experience, so I am definitely in tune with the things. I like things.
That's just as well. You won't get a whole lot of a feel for me from looking at the background of this room because this is not my room.
Yeah. So we are quietly, the millions of us watching this video eventually are quietly stalking roommates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody's involved when this is going to be huge soon enough.
This little project we have going, yes. So PDH 3 years, been playing forever, I'm sure.
Well, I want to say that I have a really lousy list on Tapped Out from 2016, 2017? Of Sand Sower.
Mosi, you gotta get with the times. Moxfield is where.
Oh, I know of Moxfield now, but Moxfield was not around in 2016 and 2017. If Moxfield was around in 2016, 2017,
yeah,
there's no way.
Oh, there's so many tools now. Like I think Scarecrow is just listing. I can't even remember what Decks. Anyway, it's some tool that I used to use, like when I used to actually like trade cards, which was probably.
Oh, is it? It's not Deck Stats, is it?
No. I think I was the last holdout on Deck Stats. because I liked the custom nature, but then Moxfield just like started integrating that, and I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they really have put quite a bit into it.
And even then, like Ryan, the co-host for this channel and this community, he makes requests all the time. I think he's got I think he's 3 for 3 in requesting items via the Moxfield Discord server. So they're really receptive to features if they make sense, So
I'm 0 for 1 on requesting features from Scryfall because I requested that they let me search for Snools when Kyle Time came out.
They just kind of threw that up and
yeah, I was like, hey, I think it might be interesting if you let me do is Snool for the Kaldheim dual lands. And they said, interesting. No. Interesting, yes. Happening, no.
All right, that's a thing. Okay, the line forms over here to the left. Or the right. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're gonna picket and protest till we get our way. Eventually, they'll have to listen to us, right? Eventually.
Well, if you get a lot of people, sure, but I don't know how much grassroots support I'm going to be able to drum up for Snools.
So I'll tell you exactly how Scryfall, the inroads for Scryfall work out. 18 months ago, when I approached them about format legality, they're like, yeah, that sounds like fun and all, but we need to build this thing, and that's like a lot of work, so we're just not going to do it. And I was like, okay, I'll build it. If I build it, will you take it? And they're like, yeah, okay. So not knowing exactly what that meant.
Well, and this is the way that you learn.
Yep. So I myself and 2 other people basically by hand created the first JSON for Scryfall, and then thank the lords that Chev came along with Oak Tree and all that stuff. Yeah. So now that's history, ancient history. So okay. I was going to say something, but that would have been like putting you in a box, and I don't want to put you in a box because I don't know. I don't presume that you play competitive PDH.
I am not I am not good enough at Magic to play competitive anything. I like the idea of it. I always like to hear about the developments and poke at the people that know anything about the
sweet.
The actual
so that wasn't a no.
I don't play it. I like it. I will watch it.
I don't know. We'll have to, for you in the back, who are taking notes and all that stuff. We got one more.
Oh, sure.
Well, I mean, the beautiful thing about this format that's unlike any other format where there is a casual and competitive like player base, we're the only ones that love, respect, and treat each other with kindness and understanding. We're the only ones. And I find that critically amazing. Like that's the facet of this beautiful thing that we have here that I will fight to the death, because we all understand. So we all understand, like, hey, like the pals are a great example of this, like, hey, they break all of the rules, all of them. They don't play by the right life totals. They don't block. They don't do any of that stuff. And
no commander damage.
So I will fight to the death for them to do that thing, because they are so great at doing the thing. And they're wonderful ambassadors for the game. So like, it's crazy. I'll even fight for people who don't think of competitive the same way I do, you know.
Hey, competitive is for spikes. I've never really been much of a spike. I like to think about it, but in the moment, I'm just too much of a doofus, and it's just like, oops, I didn't tap the mana right, or
yeah,
I didn't attack before I cast spells, and this is what makes you lose games on a competitive level, and that's I appreciate the execution, but I don't have it.
So to that end, what's your jam? I mean, are you a +1 +1 counters person, or do you like tokens, or do you like weird interactions?
The biggest, I like weird interactions. One of my first decks that I made my first deck that I made that I really like is one of the most annoying decks I've seen in all of PDH, and that is my dear sweet Spitty Plague Spitter. And the interaction between Plague Spitter and Lifelink, and Plague Spitter and Death Touch, and Plague Spitter and the card Necrobite that regenerates it and also gives it Death Touch. Which is, for those of you that don't know who Plague Spitter is a 2/2. I believe it's now a Phyrexian horror. It was a horror for 2 and 1 black, and when it at the beginning of your upkeep, and when it dies, I think maybe leaves the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. And that's pretty good with lifelink or death touch.
Yep. Now you're gaining multiples of life if you're playing in a pod greater than 3. You're killing all of the things.
There's really not a whole lot of destroy all creatures in PDH, and if you think that your commander is just always going to get hated off the field, I would suggest convincing one of the other people in your pod to play Plague Spitter, because that's going to get hated off the field first.
Yeah, it has the Crip Rats problem. Like there was like a year ago or so in the middle times. God, we've got ages in.
Forever.
We've got the early ages, the middle ages, and now we're like into like the second middle ages of CPDH. But in the first Middle Ages, there was a Crip Rats deck that was basically built off the fact of like the black reanimate, the flicker, the black flicker spells, giving it lifelink, and then just like killing everything, coming back, So that piloted by one particular person, kind of ran rampant for a few like 5 weeks. It was very, very dark time. Righteous. Okay.
When I'm not being that annoying, though, I like Kadira. Kadira is very fun. Kadira, the Color of the Small. She's the 3/3 for 1 white black, and whenever you deal combat damage with Kadira, if I'm not mistaken, you make a 1/1 green rabbit creature token for each token you control.
I'm trying to, how do you spell that?
Cadira.
Ah, there we go. Oh, yeah.
She's an orc ranger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I thought it sounded familiar. Somebody was just looking at building this, and they had a funny name for it. I wish I could remember what it was called, but it was a playoff of the rabbit tokens.
I have a big stack of little cheap Pokemon cards of different rabbits that I use for the tokens.
That's cute.
Because the rabbit tokens from Magic, I don't know what they are now, but at the time were like $2 a piece.
Oh, but they're so cute though. Oh, they're
extremely cute.
Yeah, they're mini lops.
I have to control myself. But listen, this is PDH. This is a budget format. I would be spending thrice the value of my deck on tokens because I'm one of those weirdos that does not care for putting the die on the card. If I can get a number of tokens, I should have that many cards for it. Now, if something strange happens, get the dice. But if I'm regularly going to be getting out 20, get 20 cards.
Yeah, they're $112 at the moment.
Yeah, that's still a bit much.
God, they're so cute. Okay, close.
They're adorable.
Close the window. Yeah, you can't see it, but behind there's a door back there. That's my wife's rabbit room. We have an American Blue, mini lop, and I forget the common vernacular is like a velveteen. I forget the actual breed type, but yeah, rabbits.
Rabbits are awful cute.
They are sweet. Okay, so there's some likes. Okay. What types of stuff do you not like? Do you not like +1/+1 counters? Do you not like?
It's like +1/+1 counters. So now is this from the perspective of playing or playing against?
Let's start with one and segue into the other.
Okay. So for things that I don't like to play, I'm just not very good at the is it spellslinger kind of ones, and there's a ton of them. There's a whole mess of them, and every set or two there's a new one that's probably not going to be the new hotness, but it's still pretty good. Like because they just love that as a draft.
Third Path Iconoclast.
Third Path Iconoclast is really neat, but it's got 1 toughness, so it's like. I have no faith in it.
Okay, so that's play. So what about play against?
Play against, like Winding Constrictor.
I know this card.
Yes, you do.
Oh, so it's like a doubling season.
It is like a doubling season, but it's much, much faster to play. Doubling season, that's Corpse Jack Menace. I mean, as far as PDH is concerned.
Interesting. I feel badly sometimes in the fact that it was probably the Tarkir block when I last recall having the ability to, somebody would say the name of a card and it's like, oh yeah, that's XYZ yada yada encyclopedic knowledge. It's been a while since I've felt comfortable like reciting. Oh yeah, that's exactly. Now, I mean, you've got your old standards that everybody knows, but anymore, it's just like it's so much.
I'll tell you, I have that for a while ago, and lately I have it for common and some of the uncommon cards.
So it's just like, I feel badly because, I'm on the rules committee and common cards is the thing that we do and that sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, there's like 20-something thousand.
Yeah. What can you really do? I mean, they're putting out a new set every
couple of weeks. Yeah.
Like 10 minutes. And
it's like, I got a job,
right?
I got adult things to do.
You've got a job and this one pays you for it.
Right.
You would have to have a second job to know all of the the this and that little common and uncommon from the
Right on. Let's move into something salacious that the people always want to know. Now, don't out yourself if you don't feel comfortable doing so. Previously in these interviews, we've talked about controversial issues such as backgrounds, things of that nature. People who have been paying attention, everybody knows where I stand. I'm kind of fluid with regard to some of the finer points, but by and large, I've given everybody the opportunity to kind of because this is if these types of videos serve as an opportunity for people to get to know you as a rules committee member, then looking at something that's probably the most pinnacle of our achievement.
It's so divisive. It's so divisive, and I understand why.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think that there's any way that we could make everybody happy with it. I just don't.
Mm-hmm. Now, that said, the easy way to proceed with that is rule 0. I will planeswalkers, even the band cards, if you have a play group, and you're doing your thing, and it's outside of a structured LCS kind of thing, like go ham.
But you can't take you can do whatever you want at kitchen table, or if you're so lucky as to have a Thursday night PDH or what have you. But you can't take your Mystic and Ristic to the PDH Pro Tour.
No. Leave that shit at home.
Away. Put it back in the box.
So
put the lid on the box.
Now I've said this to a couple of people, in passing, and I think I've said it once or twice, also in passing on maybe one of these before, but I'll, with the intention of maybe digging a little deeper, in 5 minutes, the 3 to 5 minute elevator pitch.
Sure.
I think Mystic Remora would be fine at the moment.
You think? You think Mystic Remora?
Mm-hmm. Now this is based on my experiences, so
I don't think. So here's how I feel about it. I don't think that there should be a separate casual and competitive ban list, because that doesn't even make any sense. Because the casual ban list is rule 0. But from the perspective of, is something actually, incredibly good and it's going to be oppressive, only at really casual tables is Mystic Remora going to be a super big deal. Ristic Study is always going to be annoying. Ristic Study is annoying in normal EDH.
So this is not that I was intentionally testing you or anything like that, but this serves. So between the backgrounds, between the band cards, and how an individual RC member feels regarding those things, I
haven't said anything as for my genuine opinions.
Right, but that's the thing. These are the things that have been said in the last couple of minutes are indicative of months of deep thought and conversation.
Yes.
So I had a person ask me.
Show up for the last 30 minutes.
I mean, better late than never, right?
I'll show up for 30 minutes here and there.
Yeah. I had a person just ask me an hour ago, does the rules committee talk? Yeah, we talk all the time. We have our own Discord server that we interact with. We have the dual commander, dual PDH, PDC people in there.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, they have their own
and peek in.
Yeah, they have their own little side, and we get to interact with them in a general, and Yeah, like we talk all the time, and I even pointed him. Scarecrow put out an article here in the last 24 hours, saying as much. Like, hey, recognize that we haven't said anything publicly in a while. We are talking all the time. Haha.
Yeah.
Joke's on you.
Yeah, most days there's a volley or two on some issue.
Mm-hmm. But by and large, we don't really have so much of a problem. Of course, now every new set that comes out, it's like, okay, are we gonna have to talk about alchemy again? We're gonna have to.
Yes.
Are we gonna? Okay, is this gonna have backgrounds in it? Oh my God, they just did a special printing of Swords to Plowshares. How does that affect us? So, and we're constantly, the things that we are doing in the background. Well, when I say we, collectively, I will readily admit that rule smithing, like wordsmithing rules and stuff like that, is not necessarily my strong suit. So I'll engage for my own, like, get better practice, but otherwise, like, I'm not contributing. That's probably not correct. I mean, we're all contributing meaningfully, but
you're not necessarily getting into the real guts of it, but
the
like
weeds.
The I was going to say lawyeries, but the sort of the magic-ese of it is not necessarily everybody needing to jump in on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a handful of people know how it's formatted, and that's good enough.
Yeah. So those types of discussions, the tightening up of the language and all that stuff, happens all the time. And there'll be little tweaks to the website, home base, all of that stuff is happening pretty much constantly. It's just that it's never announced. So,
yeah, because what are we going to say? Oh, we had a discussion about some of the finer points of this article that we're going to put out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, sure, we could. Why?
Yeah.
To pad out the Twitter? I'm not.
Twitter must maintain blue checkmark standing.
Yeah, no, I understand why people would want it, but it's not. It's not that it's like bad, but like you don't always need to know how the sausage is made. Sometimes it's just boring. Like, it's important, but to get vague information about what kind of thing we talked about, I don't think many people would really care. I think things will change a little bit too. Like this year in particular, like we're barely into March. This year in particular, I've been feeling the itch really big time on getting out to events and repping the format in person and that sort of thing. And I feel like once we're better able to mobilize ourselves, in person to whatever events nearer us, I think once that starts happening, the visibility. So it's like, okay, it's like, hey, where's Mosi? We'll see you. We'll be able to have like little arrows to you in this little crowd, like, oh, right there. Well, if you're in the sort of, I was going to say Midwestern, but I'm not in the Midwestern. I am in sort of the middle of the Western states. Mm-hmm. If you're in that area and you end up in some of the nearby stores to me, you would not be so shocked to hear me saying things about it. Like, it's always kind of strange to me to push too much for public events, given our current and ongoing public health issues. Mm-hmm. But it's my most preferred format, and I like to see it around.
Mm-hmm. I'm very adamant this year about, forcing is a bad word, but like pushing, aggressively pushing for FNMs, Friday Night Magics, getting people together as they feel comfortable, as they feel safe, that sort of thing. I have an 8-foot table right behind me that I would love to have a regular, 4-pod, even if we don't stream it, just like a regular 4-pod where we're playing and honing and like in real time. I would just love that opportunity. So yeah, I'm definitely pushing, and there's other people. There's people in Philadelphia and New York and South Florida, Washington State. There's people that are actively playing this format in paper, with groups of folks, I think, New York, ironically, is like the smallest that I've heard of at, only, half dozen or so people reportedly. Now there's probably more that we just don't hear.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, these larger metro areas are starting to, catch the bug, catch the fire. And, I'm about it. I am all about it. Sweet.
It made me so sad. It was probably about a month ago now, but I was watching in the PDH Discord. I was watching some of those threads popping up for local events here and there, and it was just like, oh, that's where I used to live.
Well,
yeah, there's not much I can do. I can't really. I mean, shout out to everybody that's having fun over at RIW Hobby or Pandemonium Games in the Detroit metro area, but I am no longer there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I would say hi to Pam, but like Pam doesn't remember who I
am. I have 2 game stores here in Fargo, North Dakota, and I couldn't pay them money. Commander players are so weird. So weird. It's like, God, this Cyclonic Rift is so oppressive and expensive. Well, here's another format. Yeah, but I got to take time to do that. Come on, So got the old battle box that I'm putting together. So that way it's like, here, what do you like to play? You like to play Control?
I think that's such a great approach, is battle boxes.
Mm-hmm. So that's my goal, is I've got the bug. There's a couple of friends that I have that I've played casually and competitively with, in the larger EDH format, that over the last 5 or 6 years since I've lived here. And some of them are catching the bug. They're like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. They don't want to spend, thousands of dollars on just a regular commander deck anymore. Especially the ones that have like bought and sold, in and out of the format, so many times, because, economics. So yeah, this is a very cheap alternative. I think Tatiova is like $94, and that's only because it has Snow Islands.
Yeah, that's the thing, is for a lot of the decks, the biggest expense is whether or not you're running snows.
And to that end, I mean, you could get away with just running, because basically you just take Astrolabe out and swap out into the north with, some other fetch and, fetch ramp, and there you go. It's probably $30 cheaper.
Yeah. And is it worse? Yeah, but not that much. Marginally. Yeah. So 1 out of however many games, right? So right on. So, okay. So we've got to work on some Moxfield lists, going from tapped out to Moxfield. We gotta get you in a competitive game at least once. which most of my things are on Moxfield. I just occasionally, well, it wasn't occasionally, really. It's just I remember going on Tapped Out and looking at my list, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a PDH list, and it's from like, oh my God.
It's actually kind of a shame that those guys don't for whatever reason, couldn't get with the program and, support, provide that similar support. Cause I mean, the compendium was gas, right? And all of
I missed the compendium.
And then all of the stuff that, like, listen here, kids, imagine a world where everything is on one page and you click a button and it drops down. So Orzhov, click, drop down. There's all your Orzhov commanders, like all right there. And with a sample
compendium,
yeah,
still is not that bad. It's really out of date, but like, you have so much access. It's got so many good lists.
Well, even Ruffigan's individual combo, like he's got 3 or so combo primers, because the combo lines really haven't changed a whole lot. Like there's maybe 1 or 2 interestingly like new things, but by and large, it's pretty much the same. And even then, it's example enough that if there's something similar, you're like, oh yeah, that looks just like this other card, that was printed in the, set 2 days ago. Oh, there's another card coming out in 2 days,
I really am sometimes tempted to add things to the compendium, but I just can't convince myself that there's a whole lot of long-term benefit to it, because it is a really old kind of web sensibility, but it's so convenient.
Well,
even on mobile,
there's a bunch of holdouts, right? I mean, there's still people that are still utilizing, and I mean, there's folks still using, forum style websites. Like it used to be MTG Salvation. Now it's MTG Nexus is the next iteration of that, which I don't think is getting much tech support. But, there's a lot of holdouts out there that are, well, they like their thing and that's how they're going to interact.
Well, I will tell you, I want to say 3 years ago, I did boot up Apprentice, the old online sort of TCG engine. It is just there's nothing to it. There's no images. And every card is sort of a square, and if you mouse over it, it will give you the text of the card. And the reason that I used Apprentice is because it was just so simple to add custom cards. And the longest time ago, I was really into making custom cards.
Huh.
And it's just ugly as sin, but it just works. Please.
You can download. It's free in beta.
I think that's Apprentice 2 now.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
I told you it was not that long ago that I checked up on it.
241 people from Facebook have liked it. Now we're merging old technologies, right? Oh, with a kickstart coming soon. Interesting. Oh, wow. Gatherer. I can recall doing all of my searching via Gatherer.
Well, it was Gatherer, and then someone had the divine inspiration to make magiccards.info, and now it's Scryfall.
Oh, yeah. It was .info for a time there.
Mm-hmm.
And they were bought. They were intentionally bought. Let's see. I was going to see if they're, if the old, Magic Cards info. So the old The old domain goes directly to they maintained the old domain. Isn't that cool?
I didn't know that. I would think that there was some reason that I guess it was just the team. Scryfall's got a lot more than Magic cards did.
Wow, in 2018. That's not too long ago.
It's not that long, but it's been a little while.
Yeah. Wow. One that I
did not alienate the younger people who think 5 years is an eternity.
I mean, that's a third of their life, right?
And that's totally legit. It's just like 5 years for me. It's just like, meh.
Yep. What's another one? It's the one that you type in and it's like, hey, what's a card like this one? It's like Mox. Yeah, see, now I'm gonna be like Mox. Yeah, I'm not gonna remember. But anyway, I used to use it all the time, and I was like, okay, freed from the real. What's another card just like this? And you'd go freed from the real, and then type in this site. The site name is like Mox or Opal or something, whatever, and then it would bring up, and it would every card that was categorized similarly, it would segregate that out by format, and it's like, oh, cool. I can't remember the name of it, but just all of these different sites that I've used over the waxing nostalgic on weird magic technology.
Aura, by the way.
What's that?
Pemin's Aura, by the way.
Yes. So yeah. Holy crap. So where would you like, what does your PDH 2023, what does that look like? What are your wishes, your aspirations, your future regrets?
My future regrets? That's an interesting one. I like that.
Just making sure that you're paying attention. Like, do you have?
I'm a little spacey, but I am paying attention. My hope is a good balance of attention. I would like more eyes on the format. I would like the eyes to all be amateur.
Mm-hmm.
I would not like to. I would not like. I'm not going to say anybody's name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so content without PDH Masters or Hopper Commander Masters or whatever.
So the interesting thing about that is there was someone, and I can't, for the life of me, I cannot remember who. So I cannot attribute this quote to that person, but someone said that basically the ubiquity of commons won't allow for specified power creep. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically the gist of it. Like, you can have the accidental, or you could have because of the popper, the 60 card popper format, you could have targeted cards for that, but you would also contend that you might get one of those per set. You're not going to get like 5 per set, so, and that's even like maybe, right? Mm-hmm. So,
well, and again, any card that's a real, groundbreaker, that's 1/15 of your pauper deck. It could be, as opposed to 1/99 of your, main board of your PDH deck. So it's just like, probably
it was like, what was it? Deadly Dispute and
Deadly Dispute's so good.
What's the 1-drop black artifact that recurs, creates a blood token?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, yeah.
It's not Blood Fountain, is it?
Blood Fountain, there you go. So like Blood Fountain caused a bit of a stir because it was paired with Deadly Dispute and made Black Affinity kind of a thing in Pauper for a while. So you had this, within a couple of sets, you had this, a collusion, but yeah, this unique set of circumstances where almost seemingly back to back, there was these opportunities that, I can't even think of the last time prior to that where that happened. So it's like, there's opportunity once every 5 or so years, just kind of putting in a rough guesstimate that, yeah, there'll be some overpowered stuff happening at the same time. And with the whole like fire design plan and all of that, there's a likelihood for more push things. But I think by and large, the push is going to be uniform.
Yeah, that's probably correct.
So we're going to see this power creep happening uniformly. I believe,
you're probably right.
I think it's going to be, I think where we're going to get in trouble as a format is actually the push in uncommon creatures. I think that's where we're likely to get in trouble, but that's a ban away. Dan, get away.
I'm really not that concerned about it in any case. I think that you're right that it's not as simple for PDH to have real shakeups like Wizards can do with Commander stuff.
Well, let me see if I can drill down to the sentiment, because the sentiment you shared was not unique to you. When people say that they don't want a lot of attention, big names, XYZ, yada yada yada, it's because we're large, but we're small enough where everybody's friendly. We have respect for each other and that sort of thing. Now, I think Yep.
I will say, just as a caveat, my concern is not the growth of the community, in terms of its online presence, so much as the intentional design for it. And I think that you addressed that fairly well, but it's pretty tough to do something like that.
Well, my concern, so my concern is not necessarily the design piece, but more, I'm less concerned now because, even with all of our flaws and our disagreements and all of that stuff, the RC is pretty unified on how we handle business, and we're getting better and better as time goes on, working together as that team, and assuming that everyone stays put, and we don't have to break in a new person. Assuming that's the case, we should be able to function, I feel, relatively smoothly moving forward. Now, issues, because coming from the CDH community, where you've got a bunch of knuckleheads that are vying for attention and all of that stuff, I'm ever vigilant on the indicators that if people are showing indication of wanting to be special, that sort of thing. We call it clout farming. But
sure.
So
I wasn't entirely certain what you meant by that. I was fairly certain you would clarify it. You did, but
because that's the thing. We are all special in our own special kind of way, but we are not more special than the other special person. So
no, we're all here to have fun.
Exactly. So, and to that end, like the ideas and concepts that would seek to naturally divide beyond things of like play style and card choice and all of that stuff, I'm trying very, very, very desperately to keep that out of the community, because as Ryan and I have experienced with, all of the stuff that we've been doing and how that's branched out over into the more casual side of the format, working with the PDH pod folks and the pals and all of that. And basically us coming together and saying, okay, this is what's acceptable, when we interact, when strangers interact with the community, almost like a bigger sibling kind of thing. Like, hey, be respectful, do what you want to do, sure, but be respectful, damn it, or else we'll hoist you up by your knickers and get you out of here. So, yeah, that's my main concern is bad actors and the cancer that they would inevitably promote. So that's the thing I'm looking out for.
Yeah, there is an element of self-promotion that does come with a pretty negative set of like you said, bad actors.
Well, there's one thing in particular. I can put my finger on exactly one thing immediately. So it's actually stimulated by wizards themselves and this cadence of product that they're putting out. Everybody wants to be, I want to build that commander. No, I want to build that commander. No, I want to be the first to build that commander. Well, so the byproduct of being first means that you're putting out probably just a hasty product. So the counter to that is establishing an environment, and a criteria for evaluation and all that stuff that has long-term a long-term component built into it. So that way it's sure, people become known for like I was an early Dargo player, so people are like, yeah, Dargo or Crackling Drake, because I've played it on Playing with Power or something like that. I get known for things, but I'm really quick to say, no, you take Crackling Drake, you do something with it. Don't let me, we all can enjoy this thing. I don't want to be known for any particular list. So
yeah, sure. You put out your list and that's cool. And you had whatever success and whatever fun you had with it, but that's not, it's not your card.
I'm not the owner. Yeah, exactly. So, kind of combating against this idea of, well, I built it first and all that. There's a whole line of toxicity that, strings off of that. And it's like, we don't need that.
Yeah, no, there's no need of that. And I feel like there's certainly not like a total immunity to it, but I think it's a little bit more difficult because there are so many more uncommon creatures than commanders. Though lately there's a lot of uncommon commanders, but it certainly isn't all of them.
Yeah. And there's definitely opportunity. My favorite thing is going through all the new cards and seeing what those new cards do to enable older commanders.
Yes.
That's what trips my trigger, as they say. The infamous.
That's always a fun thing to do is, it's a lot easier to look at a set and see what in the set works with each other because it was built to work together and it's all self-contained like that. But like you were saying earlier, and I'm not entirely certain if this was before or after we started recording, but there's 20,000 and some cards.
Yeah.
There's probably some people in the world that can just like, yes, this would work very well with White Lily Wolf or whatever the hell. But
they also probably have a Pro Tour, championship trophy on the mantle as well. Yeah,
right. There's not a whole lot of those people. For most people, that's a pretty intellectually stimulating exercise. You have to really dig down for that kind of thing.
So guess what? We have 5 minutes.
We have 5 minutes.
I know. I told you, like, so at the beginning of this, I was like, hey, sometimes an hour just kind of like sneaks up on you, So this is that sneaking up. So
it seems to have.
So I would love the opportunity. So at the beginning of this year, let's step back a little bit. At the beginning of this year, I basically gathered all of the folks that I had previously interviewed to do like a January kind of recording. So it was myself, Derek, Alk, and Scarecrow. And we basically got all together, and it was basically, we recognized that there was going to be some, big things happening this year. So it's like, okay, what can we do? We've already engaged in this interview process. We know each other fairly decently at this point. What can we do to help set the tone, make predictions, all of that stuff? So, which has kind of led to some conversations here. So to that end, I would love to have you back, like in a couple of months or so.
Sure.
And to that end, I would love to be able to pair, like get you and Alk together, and have you guys kind of have me be like the bystander while you guys are talking casual stuff. And it's like, because to that end, like I can be dominating when it comes to metagame stats and things of that competitive nature, and I'm being real cognizant of getting out of the way, because there's really beautiful things happening at the more casual tables that I don't get to see, I don't get to interact with, that deserve to be highlighted, and given a voice to. So with the remaining time, what would you like to talk about?
You bringing up having a little casual chat with Elk, that would be so fun. Elk's such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people in the rules committee, I
think,
are just like pretty fun to chat with and like pick their brain.
I think you and Elk would have such a sweet person. You'd have like a just a jam talking about silly things. Not to say that Derek and Scarecrow can't talk about silly things, but they're more the straight laced,
Well, the thing about that is it's just about how you're spending your time, right? And I mean, like, you can, like, I enjoy hearing about, like I was saying earlier, I enjoy hearing about the competitive stuff, but I really have nothing to add. You can tell me, this is moving into tier 1, and this is really this is almost tier 0 now, and I'm just like, yes, that's interesting. I have nothing else to add. The last time I really paid much attention to the competitive stuff, tier 0 was Tatiova.
Mm. Well, what's a tier again? I'm sorry that.
Listen, I'm speaking in a general sense. Nobody in our community invented tiers.
Oh my! Sorry, I had to. Could not resist.
That's resist. What else do I want to talk about?
Where can people find you? If they're looking for Mosi, where can people find you? Do you have a haunt that you attend regularly? If you wanted to put that out into the public sphere, are you
there's nowhere that I'm at that I just talk about PDH besides just the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
I assume you plug the Discord at every possible opportunity. I'm in the Discord often enough. I really kind of hesitate to put anything else out there because it's just not. I don't make, and maybe this is my bad as a brand ambassador or whatever, but I don't really make PDH promotion and discussion my brand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always talking about whatever goofy shit.
Righteous. So now that we have you in, so now we have to specify 2 Discords because you just joined the Common Connoisseurs today.
I did.
So this would be the PDH home base Discord.
Yep,
now
PDH home base.
now with like 1,700 people in it or something like that. Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. So you'll be able to go in at symbol Memento Mosi, yo, tell me about this thing that you just mentioned on this thing,
Oh yeah. Talk to me about Spitty. Talk to me about, let me show you my deck list of maximum annoyance. It's not quite as bad, I assume, as Crypt Rats was, but
yeah, I mean,
Crypt Rats is going to be kind of a hard sell for your casual pod. Plague Spitter? Who's that? Sounds interesting. What a cutie on that picture.
It's Crypt Rats at home.
It really kind of is. It's just kind of like automatic Crypt Rats. It's like the renewable Crypt Rats.
Well, what I find that interesting about that is that Crypt Rats in that build mentioned earlier takes some setup. Like you've got to have X number of mana, and you got to do the thing, right? Like especially if you're going to legitimately wipe the board. It sounds as if that this is a more minimally, extensive setup.
The only real thing that you have to have set up is keeping usually 1, maybe 2 black mana up for when somebody inevitably tries to kill it, so they instead just ping the board, or kill the whole board instead when they just wanted to kill it, or I usually have at least 1 or 2 reanimation pieces, but those are sorcery, so I don't know. It's just fun. Not many people think about the fact that you can kill a 4 toughness creature that's blocking it if I'm swinging in with it, and it's just like, oh, I'm going to swing with this. Oh, I'll block with my whatever thing that has 4 or less toughness, and it's just like, okay, well, it dies because I pinged you for 1 at the beginning of the turn, and it's going to ping you again when it dies.
Yep.
And it's got 2 power. So it's actually really hard to block sometimes. I don't attack with it much, but it's always fun to get people to do math.
I can't think of a better place. So there's our hour. There it is. So Memento Mosi, from the bottom of my heart, I've waited like, I think I've been doing this for like 6 months now. I'm not saying something about like best for last, but this is great. I've been wanting to get to know you for my own. I mean, we've interacted and via words, but I may or may not have been really open at the time, to getting to know people because I was really upset or really impassioned. There you go.
We were too busy on the warpath to really make such close friends.
Yeah. But yeah, you out there have my promises. Mosi will be back as soon as I can get them back. Might have to travel to the western states to kidnap them, and
it's Colorado. It's a pretty big place. I'll give you that.
Right on. Sweet. Okay. Until the next time, my friend, let's say goodbye.
Have a good day, everybody.